This is Eric Rattan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
You've tuned into a conversation between myself and Helloween drummer Dani Löble. The catalyst for the conversation is the brand new studio album from Helloween for 2021. It's a self-titled affair. Now, if you've tuned in via YouTube, you may not realise that I've been conducting interviews with musicians for about 4.5 years or thereabouts, but that's a bit of a misnomer. I don't conduct interviews. I have conversations. So what you can expect is an exchange of dialogue. Of course, Dani and I talk about the brand new album from Helloween, but we dive into his thoughts on touring, watching soccer from a fairly unusual vantage point, Australia, and many other subjects. So here he is, Dani Löble, who is the drummer in Helloween.
Hey, good morning.
Hey mate, how's things?
Good evening.
Good evening indeed, yes. How's things?
Good. It's around 6 o'clock, isn't it? PM?
7 p.m. for me, yeah. Yep.
7, okay. Where are you based?
Gold Coast.
Where is it?
Do you know Brisbane?
Yeah, of course, Brizzy, yeah.
Yeah, Brizzy, spot on, yeah. You even got the local. Yeah, I'm probably about 50 or 60 kilometres away from Brisbane.
Brizzy. Good times. I remember good times having in Brizzy.
It's a nice town, Brizzy, yeah, that's for sure. And you guys are welcome here anytime you want to come over. You know that. So it sounds like you to your point, you have had a great time here. So tell me about that. Was it just a good night out in the town and good night meeting fans?
Hey, I mean, we've been to Australia, I don't know, a couple of times. I do not really know how many times we've been there. I remember one certain night in Brisbane. I don't want to talk about it, but it was a tough night. And it was awesome. A fucking hard show the next day. That's what I can tell you.
Hey, as a touring musician, I've often wondered that. How difficult is it for you to constantly back up and perform and then get on aeroplanes? Because it's so horrible getting on aeroplanes when you've got a hangover, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Even when it's up to that level, you know, like then it's get quite tricky during a flight. So, and while getting older, it ain't getting easier.
I know the feeling too. Don't worry. But you're fit.
Sorry?
But you're very fit. You're very fit. You're athletic. So you should recover quicker.
Yeah, depends on the night before. Being able to run around a block doesn't mean that I can digest tons of alcohol even faster than the other ones. I mean, I suffer from it as worse as the other have too. And so, yeah. But those times has almost gone. And at the beginning, when I joined Helloween, or at the beginning of my career, we were partying, of course. Young bloods put a heap of rebels into one club, into a tour bus and whatever, and let them play and do whatever they want to do. It ending up in having a lot of fun, and alcohol and whatever will automatically part of it. Yeah. And so I had a lot of fun being on tour in my career. But the moment I joined Helloween, a lot of things changed because the responsibility, it's not just being in a opening band or in a smaller band or whatever. No, all of a sudden you are in a band that tours around the world and fills, packs venues, and people are there who waste a hell of a lot of money, hard-earned money, to see a perfect show the best way you can. So from that moment, a lot of things changed, and I'm a quite professional in that way. So I have a strict plan over the day when I have to eat what. My tour manager knows exactly my touring. Yeah, now it's time for Dani to eat that, and to get back on my feet after a long tour or a hard show to or to resist, I would say, that stress on tour. And even if you have to fly a lot, that makes a lot with your legs, for example, and you're a double bass drum player. So getting out of a plane onto a stage and burst into Eagle Fly Free, that's a lot of pain going because of the air pressure, whatever you suffer from during a flight. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And then being all of the sudden playing drums in Helloween is a kind of sport.
Yes.
You know, I like it a lot, of course, but it's a kind of a sport, and so I take it the way a sportman does. So I follow the same way because I'm a sporty anyway. So I'm into. I watch what I eat, but I'm not a holy. I'm a sinner too.
You're allowed to be. I mean, you're in one of the biggest heavy metal bands on the planet, so you've got to be allowed to enjoy yourself from time to time.
No, of course. I mean, hey, it's life. And if you are surrounded by so many cool people or pals, I am. And during the tour, even our crew, I mean, we've been together for such a long tour, even with our crew, so we became friends, and our families stick together. I'm best man to our monitor man, or my monitor man is the best man to our whatever. So we are all really well connected, the kids, the families, and so on. It's Helloween is a real family, became a real family over the years. So with our prince on top, Mr. Whiteheart. Everyone says Mikey, and Mikey is our, that's Mikey. That's the family and grandfather of it all.
Yeah, I get it. So tell me, Dani, how have the interviews been going? Have you enjoyed being on the promotional trail for this album?
Yeah. I mean, for me as a drummer, it's really strange. I mean, to do interviews is part of the, I call it job. It's my passion. It's part of living the dream. But I'm not a songwriter, so all of a sudden my schedule is packed with interviews, and I said, hey, I'm the fucking drummer. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm used giving interviews for drum magazines or magazines who want to have the drummer to talk about the drummer side. But now all of a sudden I have to talk. I'm packed. My schedule is packed with interviews, and that's the first time since I joined Helloween having that much interviews, and I enjoy it as much as the other boys do, of course. And because it's quite overwhelmed, and there are a lot of requests for interviews towards the band, and that's the first time. Our department, I don't know, promotion department, or they organize the interviews. I don't know. Yeah. So they say, Ute, it's the boss. I was phoning with her yesterday, and she said, "Man, it's a massive run of interviews. She can't help. It's so many. It's so much, and it's the first time, and that's overwhelming too. As the reaction of the album as well. It's a kind of strange. It's crazy what's going on these days here in Germany or in the Helloween family."
Look, I know you've been in the band since Keeper of the Seven Keys, The Legacy, was released in 2005. So this self-titled album, I think, if I'm counting correctly, is your 6th studio recording of all new material with the group. I think that's about right. There's been a few live albums and EPs and things, but that's in terms of an album. But to back up your point earlier about the interest, I'm so interested in what the band is doing at the moment that I've already interviewed Sasha and DeMarcus. Now I've got yourself, because it is an incredibly strong album. I actually believe it's the band's strongest album since Gambling with the Devil. Do you feel the same way?
I've got that question many times before, and to me, I just can say when we gathered together, when we gathered to listening to the demos. So for me as a non-songwriter, so I have a better point of view of what had happened back then, because I don't write songs. So what I felt back then was that the song ideas and the existing ideas and the already existing songs were bursting of freshness. I call it freshness.
Yeah.
The energy, every song, even every single little bits of ideas, they were packed with energy and excitement. It was like I said, wow, that I hadn't had before. Even when we listened back then to the ideas and songs of Gambling, which is a strong album indeed.
Yeah.
But that was the first time ever since I joined Helloween that I had this impression. When listening to a demo, well, these song ideas and whatever you want to call it, this stuff was bursting, exploding. It's still packed with energy and freshness. It made me I was kind of taken aback. It was like, woohoo, oh, holy shit. It could get something really special. And to pick out one album as the better one in that long career of making albums, I can't do that. Every single previous album I did with the boys or in my career is really unique and not comparable to another one, because it's art. You can't compare the picture I painted yesterday to a picture I painted a couple of years ago. That's completely different. It's a complete different way because it happens, and it's the reason why it happens. That's what I want to say. So it's art.
Yeah,
but I have to say, Gambling is a strong album, and this one, I have to insist, it's a strong one too.
Yeah, good on you.
Better, it's up to you guys. You're more the neutral referees in this game. So
the neutral referees indeed, but I think they've already made a decision and said that you're onto a winner here. And a point that I made with Sasha was that I feel like as though this album brings you guys to a very healthy middle age. So the band's been going for around 40 years or so, but you're just going to keep on going now for as long as you basically all want to keep on going for. In other words, it's your decision. The industry won't make the call for you. As long as you guys are releasing albums like this, the fans will keep flocking to you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we decided to keep on going as Helloween, not as Pumpkins United, as it started, as it had started. And now we are, for me, it's just the seven of us under one flag. It's called Helloween. And that's the reason why we named it just Helloween. Now, Sasha, for example, came up with this idea, hey, boys, after listening to the material at the recorded album, I mean, we got two completely different mixes done during that long period of pause, I would say. Yeah. Because 2020 was, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
So it would be a tough statement after all this the band went through to name it just Helloween. It's a tough statement. And as you mentioned before, we decided to keep on going as the seven of us. And I guess, we will go forever, whatever that means, as long as we are capable of doing it. That's another topic, another subject you have to take into account. I mean, we're getting older and older and older, and we're talking about still speed metal. I'm not the oldest, I'm not the youngest, but I know a 3 hour show, that was a tough one, for example, for my friend White. Often he came up and was kind of perching on my outdoor bass drum. So we fixed a pillow there, specially made pillow for Waiki, so that he can have a rest, because a 3 hour show standing in front of people playing that kind of really kind of fast music, intense music takes a lot, even for an old man. Like it's not, he's not supposed to be a sportsman. But back on track, I guess we want to do it as long as the fans want to have us, and as long as we are capable of doing it. So.
Yeah, indeed. So just with your drumming then, did you approach the album any differently than the way you might have approached a Helloween album before? In other words, did you try anything new this time around?
During the tour, during the Pumpkins United tour, where we played so many legendary old songs from the Keeper eras, even from the Walls, and there was a magic that's the key point from my point of view, for my approach towards the recordings we had on the past tour. We had that kind of Walls of Jericho medley, where we put all the pinnacles, I would say, of the Walls into one song. That song was around 15 minutes. Oh man, it was a battle. It was a massacre to me, because Walls is anything else than a ballad packed album. So, but this song, I call it this medley. This song was packed with endless energy. And you could feel how the boys acted back then. There were no regulations, there were no rules. Fuck the rules, we do whatever we want to do. And that's Walls of Jericho. That was the approach of Walls of Jericho. And that gave me this feeling, I can't describe, but this being a rebel, that kind of a rebel feeling I wanted to transmit into my drum recordings, and that's what I tried to achieve while recording. So if you listen to the drumming, that's the first time in my Helloween career that I deliberately overplayed the songs. Literally overplayed. I followed every chord change, every choir. It's packed with cymbals, accents, and patterns and grooves and little blink-blinks. I embellished supported every chord change and whatever I could do, while keep a groove on the right cymbal going, which is a distinctive feature in Helloween, for example. Ingo came up with this thing, and I keep this thing, his legacy going up today. But back on track to this feeling I got during the tour while playing night after night this Walls of Jericho medley. This particular feeling of roughness I wanted to transmit to the album. And I overplayed deliberately, and I just smashed the drums onto the tape, and it ended up in having that what you can hear now. That's the difference to what I did in the past. I'm a meticulous one. I have to be really meticulous and fuzzy, because I have to come up with the perfect timing. Precision is my second name, so to say. That's what Waiki always says. But this time I didn't care about, it's a bit floppy, fuck off, how does it feel? And Charlie and me, we were like, it feels, the bass drums are kind of shaky, but that makes the feeling. And that's the way, for example, Marcus told me Walls of Jericho was made. So that was my attitude and the approach towards the recordings. And that's the difference to what I'm used doing in the past, or what I did in the past. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I'm going to have to listen out for that then, because I'm a bassist, and I love it when a drummer cuts loose. Now, I've always considered you one of the preeminent metal drummers, certainly that I'm aware of from all of the albums that I've listened to, and I've listened to so many at this point in my life, I'm in my mid-40s. But, your style is very much bang on top of the beat. I find. You're not one of those drummers that drags the beat, because some do, don't they? So I'm going to have to go back and I've had the album now for about a week or so. Haven't had it long enough yet to form opinions about each musician's performance, except to say that it is up to that extremely high standard Helloween you guys have already set. But I love hearing from, like what you just said then, the nuances, diving into the detail to understand the approach and how that influenced the songwriting. So here's a question for you about the two returned vocalist and one guitarist. So Michael Kiske and Kai Hansen. I understand, I didn't know it was as far down the line as you're going to change the name of the band to Pumpkins United, but there you go. But Michael and Kai, having them back in the band, and of course this is the first time you've been in Helloween with them. In your opinion, what do you think that they individually brought to the recording session?
It's quite easy. Kai always, he's an energy-packed battery, and he really brought in that kind of energy. It's an almost overused word in my vocab, but he's a real power battery, power bank in the sense of he's really floppy when he plays the riff. For me, it's like, oh my God, where's the one? To be honest, compared to Sasha. Sasha is a machine and packed with energy too. But Kai is a living Walls of Jericho energy bank. And that's what suits the song. That's what you can feel on that record. That's what he brought in. That's my opinion. And Michi, he's just a distinctive voice of Helloween, without offending Andy or Kai. But at the pinnacle of their career, that's my opinion. It's Kai Kiske. Michi Kiske. Kai, Michi, Kai Kiske, me.
I get it.
and having back that missing link, to me, it was always the kind of missing link, this voice. That's what we have now on the record. And that was another point that gave me goosebumps. I remember quite well when I counted in the first song we played together in the rehearsal room. It was I'm Alive. Playing that song the first time with the original voice and with one more original guitar player. That energy, that's exactly what we're talking about. What we have now on the record. That were kind of a missing link, those two. And that's what Michi brought in with his voice. He just brought in this missing... it's a distinctive feature, as I said before. His voice, this shining, bright, powerful voice, that's what he brought in. And it's together with Andy, voice-wise, wow, we are blessed in this band, hey.
I'm so glad you shared your real opinion there about that, because so many musicians often tend to defer and take a diplomatic approach, overly diplomatic approach, I'll say. And it's so great that you actually have an opinion on that, and that you're in the band and that you can experience all of these things. So were you a fan of Helloween? I'm talking like a diehard Helloween fan before you came in. So was this like joining your dream band?
I wouldn't say, sorry for coming, but I wouldn't say a die-hard fan. I'm not a die-hard fan of anything. I'm a fan of Helloween, of course. I was a fan, and I'm still a fan. And so I'm a music fanatic. I'm still buying vinyls, and I'm jumping up the bits, getting my copies of whatever I order. Yesterday I ordered an Old Talk vinyl together with a DVD. It's a special issue here in Europe. I'm jumping up the bits, so I'm a music fanatic, and that's what I consider myself being. And so I was a Helloween. I'm still a Helloween fan. But
I get it.
Not a die-hard fan. So
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Overall. Sorry.
What was it like then working with Blaze back in the day? Because I remember when he joined Maiden. Was Blaze your springboard to greater success? Would you say it like that, do you think? You know, you got noticed in Blaze, which gave you the opportunity in Helloween, and maybe if the opportunity with Blaze didn't come about, you might not have got the opportunity with Helloween?
No. Nobody actually took notice or had taken notice back then when I was on tour with him. It was a great chance to me to play with a former Iron Maiden singer, you know. But talking about the Iron Maiden era, which wasn't that successful.
No, it wasn't very good, to be quite frank, let's face it. And history has proven that to be the case. But I think Blaze was cruel because the band didn't tune down half a step. And they desperately needed to do that.
It wasn't his fault. I mean, he did. Yep. I listened. I wasn't into Iron Maiden back then when he was in Maiden. So I lost a bit track of this band. After Seventh Son of the Seventh Son, I lost kind of track. You know, they didn't get me. So then I listened. The first time I listened to the Blaze Bayley phase or era was when I was with him on tour. So, and in my opinion, it wasn't really good, but it wasn't his fault. You have to put the blame onto the band. Why did they take a singer like Blaze Bayley? It was completely the wrong voice.
Yeah, it was completely wrong. Yeah,
they slaughtered. Yeah, they slaughtered kind of Blaze Bayley. Because in Wolfsbane, he did a hell of a job. He has a wonderful voice. But this voice was completely the wrong voice for a band like Iron Maiden. So for him, it was a kind of a downer for his career. I would name it a downer. Yeah? And when I was with him on stage, I mean, he's a power bank and he's an entertainer. But I guess up to date he's been suffering from this negative Iron Maiden era. That's, to be honest, and he's still in the slums. He suffers from it in general. That's opinion that you can feel. Still up to date. He just talks about this era, and I'm so sorry for him. I feel so sorry. But to your question, actually, my former band, Rawhead Rex, unknown band, so we were recording in Helloween studio on Tenerife. So, and we worked with Charlie Bauerfeind, who's the longtime producer for Helloween. So that were actually the connection when it came to the yeah. So we were at the same studio and on Tenerife. So Löble and his wife and Charlie's wife were around. So the families were around. So that was the time where we got to know another. And when it came to the day, Löble brought my name onto the table, and Charlie said, "Oh yeah, just give him a try." And I got the call, and now we're talking about the 7th or 6th album I've recorded with them.
I've got your 6th studio album down. There could be more, but Wikipedia might be wrong. You've definitely got a lot more releases to your name, but I just focus on the studio releases because they're the big ones. The tours happen behind the studio albums. Yeah, I
mean, I did a lot of studio jobs in between for whatever, but for me, it's Helloween. That's my baby. That's my band. That became my band. I'm the one. That lineup is the longest lasting Helloween album lineup.
Lineup,
so
yep.
For me, I'm the fucking Helloween drummer, so what?
Nice. Hey, own it.
I'm really proud of it. Really proud of it.
And you work your ass off for it. So good on you, mate, for having that opinion. You know, I mean, this is the thing. You know, you're always going to get these old fans that want to go back to the Jericho era or what have you. You know, I remember distinctly talking to fans who considered Bruce Dickinson the new Iron Maiden singer. He's been in and out of Iron Maiden for like 40 years or something. And I was like, so what do you mean? Are you going back to like when Iron Maiden were like a rehearsal band? Or because Paul Di'Anno, in my opinion, wasn't very good at all. You know, he's a yeller.
You know what? The same with AC/DC. Brian Johnson's still the new singer. After 40 years, 35 years.
It's been over 40 years.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm pushing the 20 anniversary in this band, and Sasha as well. And Sasha is always the new guitarist. I mean, and we are the young bloods. No, we're not. I mean, I'm pushing the 50s, and so I'm an old fart, as my mates do. Yeah, I'm the fucking Helloween drummer, but I understand all the fans who want to have back.
Oh, sorry, my camera sometimes does that. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
But I completely understand that. Now we bring in the word die-hard friends of the really beginning era, with Walls of Jericho. I mean, I do have the same with other bands, for example. A lineup, listen, I put it that way. For example, Master of Puppets. It's a really meaning album to me. It means a lot, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
And so as a young blood, you stick to that lineup, because it's not just about the music, it's just about the artists behind the lifestyle, and whatever they are, you are kind of a role model then, and a certain music. I know you know what I'm talking about now. Mm-hmm. You go through different periods in your life, and every period is packed with feelings and impressions and things you have to go through, and music is the kind of a transmitter for your feelings.
Good way of describing it.
Yeah, and all of a sudden there is a lineup change. It's for me it was hard when, for example, Jason Newsome left the band. No, it's the new bassist,
Rob.
Rob, he's a monster. I've known him since the releases of he did with Suicidal Tendencies and whatever. He's the perfect bass player in this band. But for me, something has changed, and that's the way and the reason why I understand the die-hard friends from the Walls of Jericho, or even from the Keeper of the Seven Keys, or from the Uli Kush era, who are complaining about the new drummer who sucks. And it's okay for me, because as long as they complaining, first of all, at first place, they have feeling towards music. Music means something really different, important to them, and that's a good sign to me. And on second place, as long as they don't like me, I'm still alive.
Yeah, I know. I've look, even with my podcast series, occasionally I'll get some negative feedback, and it's not even that bad, to be honest with you, but it surprises you at first, and you think, oh, shit, and then you go, oh, fuck it, who cares? It's got nothing to do with me, I don't know. And they're always, I've got to say, they're almost always anonymous users too. You don't know what their names are. They're using Firefox 32 or some other stupid name.
Yeah, you can't reach an unanimous happy reaction or whatever for you, or result for you. But I always think about the way, if everybody liked the way you do, or you go, or whatever you do, the negative sides triggers me pushing even harder. It's a matter of fact, isn't it?
To prove them wrong,
the
I know what you're
things
saying.
hey, mate, I prove you wrong, rather than, yeah, I'm a good drummer. Yeah, everybody likes me, so I haven't to change anything in my personality, which is an important part of being an artist or musician. The personality, the side of your personality.
Yeah.
Because your playings, that's an interesting point of view. Charlie our producer came up with. Listen, then, the reason why you are in Helloween your playing skills are just about 20% of the reason why you are here.
Yeah.
The other 80 are your personality, because you suit the band, you fit into this rooster, into these characters, the respect you get up with, and all these things. Your personality, the way you are, act as a human being. That's the 80%. And,
yeah, I'll never forget reading David Gilmour's comments about Guy Pratt in Pink Floyd, why he recruited Guy Pratt, and he said words to the effect of, "We can find a bass player who can play this material. Any professional bass player who gets paid for a living to play bass can do this. What I couldn't find was somebody who was fun to be around, who had a good wit." And you strike me like that. You strike me as though you've got a very good sense of humour and that you'd be fun to be around. So I can see why they recruited you.
Yeah, I mean, we fit. Hello, my little cat. So,
there you go.
Oh, mate, I can tell you. I've got 5 of them.
Five.
They drive me crazy. Eh?
Yeah, we've got cats too.
I see the band line up, and character-wise and personal, from the personal way, I like the boys, and meanwhile we became more than even friends and partners or whatever. And I mean, I'm a crazy one too. So every one of us, every single character on this lineup isn't really of this earth. I mean, we all have a kind of we are really crazy in a sense, and together we are strong. United, we are strong. So.
Yeah,
but I know what you're talking about. You don't need a perfect musician. You need a character. That's what you probably wanted to say. Oh, that's the way I want to describe why certain musicians are in certain bands.
Well,
you need a character who transmits something, who has something to say, who moves something, who makes you feel good or who makes you feel shitty or whatever. That's a good show. That's a good sign.
Yeah, I always say, because I play a fair bit too, that the people I want to be in a band with, sure, they can play, but at the intervals, so we play covers, so play for an hour, stop for half an hour, play for an hour, that sort of thing. I want to talk about the football scores. I want to talk about current affairs. If we're talking about anything else, like if we're talking about what happened on stage or what have you, I'm like, I don't want to talk to you about that, God, because we're going to go back on and do the same thing all over again. There's no point in. You're a professional musician. You should already know what to do, especially if you're in your 40s. If you don't, then you shouldn't be in the band, in my opinion. You know, with what I'm doing. So those people that can share jokes and we can talk about things that are pissing us off in current affairs, and the big one for me is football, because I play on Friday and Saturday nights, and we tend to watch the rugby league we watch here in Queensland. Rugby.
In soccer.
Yeah, different to soccer. We've got soccer here too, but it's not. It's big with the kids, but not with the adults as a spectator sport. We're very much under rugby league and a little bit of rugby union as well. So we all have a team, and you pick a team, and you just, sometimes I'm playing and I can see over there that the game's on the screen, and I'm watching it. I'm watching them as I'm playing bass and getting frustrated because my team is the Tigers and they lose a fair bit. It's fair to say.
That's what I did on which tour I did it. I had a computer next to me, and a lot of people thought, I'm starting any backing tracks or whatever. No. I had soccer running there, so my drum tech fixed the computer up there, and so we had a certain sports channel running, and I was playing on. Shut the fuck in between the songs I was kind of either frustrated or happy.
That's awesome, dude. That's killer that you can do that. Yeah, they're the sort of stories I like to hear, because you are a regular person, meaning that of course you are, but everybody sort of thinks that rock stars and musicians are up on stage and just this is what we do and we will play until our hearts are content. But of course not. I mean, you've got this whole other life that you've got to lead, and you're a big sports fan too.
Yeah, of course, soccer. I watch soccer every day. I have a special payment on telly so that I got a key so I can. I enabled the world of free soccer. So it's awesome. I'm into it and sport at all. So I'm a passionate skier.
Skiing, nice.
Skiing. I go skiing as much as possible. It takes me just 45 minutes to get onto the slope from here, so it's not that far. And lifting weights and almost every kind of sport. So I'm completely into it, and that's what I need on stage, being on tour or during the rehearsals when they fighting or talking about chords and stuff. I'm getting kind of bored, so I have always my computer next to me, soccer running, and when they talking to me and they don't get an answer, what about the results, Danny? Hey, what? And everyone is like, you're watching soccer, aren't you? Yeah, of course. Nice. Everyone knows.
Which team do you follow?
Yeah. Bayern Munich, of course. Probably you've heard about it.
Oh, of course, I've heard the team name. Yeah, big, huge European side. Yeah,
they are really, really huge. They belong to the top fives in Europe, so to say, or worldwide. In
worldwide,
soccer,
yeah,
top
definitely.
Five,
I mean, there's like Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, there's Ajax, there's a few, there's like Barcelona, there's like 5 or 6 that are just known the world over. And anywhere I've gone in the world, you see Bayern Munich jerseys or Milan jerseys or whatever it might be, Juventus, there's about 10 teams, I should say. But look, I played a lot of soccer as a kid. I just never followed it. As I said, in Australia, it's just, I wouldn't say it's a marginalised sport because it has high participation, but it's not a religion like it is in Germany.
Yeah, you have a different culture in sport where you are more into rugby. As I told you before, I have a good friend up in Keynes. And,
nice.
Chris Grant, who make his living off government grants.
He's on the dole, is he?
Work, I have a day job, fucker.
That's cool, man. How did you know a fella in Cairns? How did you get to know someone from up there?
Actually, he comes from Cairns, and he lives in the next village here in Germany.
Oh wow! Okay. Yep.
And now he sticks for a couple of months. Now he went back to Cairns because his family comes from here. He has a son up there, but he's married here to a German girl.
Gotcha.
So, but most of the time he sticks in Cairns. So
yeah, there's a lot of Germans in Australia now.
Yeah. German, Australia are quite common here. So where are you going? Australia. Because it's as Japan too. It's something really different to what we have here in Europe, the Canary Islands or whatever. It's still Europe, but Australia, this island is as Japan too, completely different to the rest of the world. That's what makes it really interesting. And I'm completely attracted of your country, Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, whatever, Brisbane. And that's wonderful cities. And it's completely different to what you will find here. Even people. I was strolling around in Melbourne. I'm a vegan, so it's sometimes hard to find vegan restaurants. But I just, hey, you know what? I enter this store. Hey, hello, I'm from Germany, blah, blah. I'm looking for a vegan restaurant. Hey, mate, yeah, Germany, wow, here, a beer. And so he shouted a beer, and first of all, we had a beer. And then he showed me the way to the next vegan restaurant. And so all nice people, where are you from? Germany. Oh, yeah, Germany, and blah, blah, blah. And so it's a bit different to Germany. We are more, so our roots are more from the army. We are more army related, you know, and so that you can feel. We are kind of rude as our pronunciation. You can hear in my pronunciation. It's more so rechtsom. And that's the way we act. We are more strict and more harder. So not everyone, but that's more our culture. And in Brazil or in Australia, it's more so, easy going, hang loose, or whatever that means. Yeah. I know it's be careful with that sign, but this kind of hang loose feeling, it's that you can feel right the moment you enter your country.
Yeah, well, German people had a lot to do with building Australia up back in the 1800s. Around me here, the cane fields were all they were started by German migrants. So to give you an idea, one of the towns near me is called Steiglitz, which is a German name. Yeah. And there's the street names have got, Opperman, this sort of thing. So there are lots of German street names. The church is literally called, there's literally a road called German Church Road near me. So to give you an idea, the settlers were very strong. And my kids go to a Lutheran school, which is, of course, Martin Luther, German. So very strong German. I wouldn't call it influence because you wouldn't know that there was a German influence here, but the inspiration is very much German. It's not just English and Irish,
I guess it was during the 1920s, right? So 1920s, 30s, where heaps, or at the end of the 19th century, where heaps of Germans left.
Yeah, end of the 19th century. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I've saw a lot of history broadcasting about that thing in Australia on telly. So we have a special history channel which is hosted by an Australian who grew up here in Germany. He speaks clear German, but with this Australian accent, and he's going around the country with the a camera team, and explains to the spectators what happened here, and shows all these buildings and the leftovers and the influences in architecture and whatever. And so that's quite interesting what he does. So that's the reason why I know what you're talking about. And even Chris, my friend from Cairns, told me a lot about influences he had as an original born Kenyaner. It's a mixture between German here and his slang. Original born Kane, one boy, whatever. So even he can tell you stories about the German, I call it leftovers in your culture. So.
Yeah, the German leftovers, that's a good way of describing it. Yeah, I think everybody thinks Australia is very English abroad, but it's not at all, actually. I mean, there's definitely the influence there, but say, for example, with my heritage, I don't have any English in me. It's Scottish and Irish. I mean, there might be some English further down the line, but McGrath on my mother's side and Mackay on my father's side. So, yeah, I mean, you could say British Isles, really, but I think it used to be like that maybe prior to the World War II, but not afterwards, for God's sakes. I mean, you go to Melbourne and Sydney, there are whole communities now of Arabs and Indians and Chinese, like whole suburbs where you'll go, you'll see, or you won't see an Australian, an ethnic Australian, so to speak. You'll just see different cultures. I know Germany's a lot like that now as well, isn't it?
Because of the world because of the possibilities you have as a human being right now, or now today's possibilities you have traveling around the world. It's not that tricky as it was in the past of our history of the human being to reach your country. I mean, I book a ticket, enter a plane, and 20 hours later, here I am, So to move house on this planet is even easier than it was 100 years or 50 years ago. Even after the Second World War, where the human being was eager to traveling around the world and whatever they want, and settle wherever they want to settle to. And I guess this word cosmopolitan nowadays became something really important for our Earth, planet, human being, whatever you want to call it, culture.
Look, congratulations on a stellar career thus far. As I said, healthy middle age, but I think for you, mate, it's like you've just gotten started. You're drumming. You'll just continue. You're like the next Tommy Aldridge. You're just going to keep on doing what you do.
Hang on. Even though I'm a kind of a clone of Tommy Aldridge. What was kind of embarrassing when we were on tour with Whitesnake, because I copied his patterns and stuff because he was the influence of me when I was a kid. So I play almost a couple of the same patterns he did afterwards, So when he was watching my drumming from the side, and I was like, oh my dear, now it comes, his pattern. And I was like, oh, please do not recognize it. I did a hell of a job, bro, mate. And so, thank you, mate.
That's
but
nice,
thanks for compare my name or bring my name onto the same table with his name. He's a legend.
Oh no, I've thought that for a few albums now, that you're the guy. There's always people out there that are sort of carrying a certain torch, and that's that torch that you carry. Tommy's still going strong, and God, I mean, his physique is awesome, isn't it? I mean, he still looks strong in his early 70s, I think, isn't he? But then you've got it going on as well. Yeah. So you've got it going on as well. So
we were on tour at the end of 19. Together in South America, Scorpions, Whitesnake, Helloween. So, and watching his drumming night after night, his energy and his stamina, and he's still fucking loud, even though he pushed back then the 70. I mean, he turned 17 now. This
I think
year,
so.
68.
Yeah. I'll check it out. But
like this. And he's a real monster. He still plays with this fucking trunks in his hands. So
he's 70. He's already turned 70. He was born in August 15, 1950. So he's incredible physique, man. But as I say, man, look, congratulations to you on everything you've achieved, and you've got so much more to give. And long may we, as fans and listeners, receive Helloween albums with your drumming behind them, brother.
Oh, thank you, mate. So I really appreciate those words. That makes my day today, or that made my day. So, or it's going to make my day. Whatever tense you want to take now.
All good. Well, I hope to catch up when you come to Australia and have a few beers, mate. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Be careful what you're saying. I take you what you've said now.
I'll take you out in Brisbane. I'll take you out around Brisbane again.
Because a thing, what I've learned was anything less than 6 too many are not enough. Is it right?
I absolutely agree with that, especially if you're having a big night.
Anything less than 6 anything less than 6 are too many, or what's called?
Anything less than 6 isn't enough. There you go. I know what you're saying. Yeah, anything less than 6 isn't enough, and or what is it? 1 is too many, and 100's never enough. That's the other saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
drink like that.
Up while talking with him, so even when he was drunk, when he's drunk and roistering about the streets and howling into the tavern, so he's always so. Anything less than 6 is not enough. What?
What'd you say?
But he's a sporty too. It's a monster, really. He's kayaking. Is it right?
Oh God, kayaking. Yep.
And a good friend of one of the best friends of him is Fisher. Is an Australian crazy man, sporty. Fisher is the king of kayaking.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the sport, but yeah, I can probably look him up. Hang on.
He's quite famous in Australia, Fisher. I've forgotten the first name. And he released a video about his journeys, what he did with his kayak, the Black Book by whatever Fisher is called. I don't know, can't remember his name properly.
Oh, it's all right. I'll find him afterwards. Yeah. But kayaking. It's another one. It's like soccer in Australia. A lot of people do it, but it's not really got a prominent. It's not all that prominent in the public eye, sort of thing. Yeah, but no, that's cool. Yeah. So yeah, thanks very much again, brother. Thanks very much for the conversation, and God bless, and may you continue to keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you. Hey, and I had a lot of pleasure talking with you. It was finally something different than the regular interviews I had given so far. So I really appreciate those things, and thank you.
Sweet.
You made my day.
Awesome. Yes, I definitely try to have a conversation like just two normal blokes. I always liken it to, imagine we sit next to together on a plane. That's what I want it to be like, and we're just talking. You know what I mean? Because you've got nothing else left to do. That's what I like it to be like. So hopefully it's been like that, and it sounds like it has been. So I appreciate it, feedback, man. Yeah.
Achieved. Hey, thank you. Really enjoyed talking with you, and have a good evening.
Good evening. Almost 8 o'clock.
We play rock road.
Nice work, brother. All right, well, thanks very much, and catch you again soon, hopefully. No worries.
Okay. Hey.
Thanks
Andrew,
a lot.
Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed that conversation there with Dani Löble from Helloween. If you did, go to scarsandguitars.com, where there's over 550 more just like it. If you could like, subscribe, and share on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, I'm easily found. Just search Scars and Guitars. Of course, if you're on YouTube, you've already tuned in, so it's an easy subscribe. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and I'm the host of this podcast series, Scars and Guitars. Until next time, it's bye for now.